Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Inner Circle talk with SSG Consulting this morning, all about KEY360, and our podcast that usually happens every week regarding project management and also business management, this platform that we have developed for this specifically. So today we're going to talk about some very interesting stuff. I'm going to not take too long. I actually mentioned from the beginning already that we got some very positive and good feedback again from our sessions over the past couple of weeks. So we're shaking things up a little bit and doing things a little bit differently from here on. You'll notice it's going to be much shorter, it's going to be more impactful and more to the point, and breaking down things so that we can get into KEY360 a little bit quicker during our talk and really looking a little bit deeper into the system itself. Yes, for today we're going to talk about bad habits die hard. It's part of the KEY360 Essentials series. And now I want to actually tell you also at the same time, we're going to break this down a little bit further as well, so that we're going to discuss certain bad habits up to the time where we've worked through a whole list of those, and how KEY360 can really help you to manage your habits so that you really can do things a little bit more efficiently, a little bit better in the workplace, and also become that rock star that you wanted to be from the beginning in that workplace of yours. Okay, so before we jump in, I just quickly want to remind you, please like, subscribe, read that notification button, and also share with friends. We really appreciate these talks, and then also if you guys can share that so that we can get the word out there. On this side here, rules. Like we say every single week, there's no rules. Please, we actually welcome discussion. We'd like it to be an interactive session. If you do have a comment or if you do have questions, please don't hesitate. If you raise a hand, I actually want to jump to the next one here, where I want to say Martinez is today our moderator and also on the technical side, looking at the back end for us at this podcast session. Thank you very much, Martinez, for looking into that for us this morning. Just so you know, yes, please, also on the back of what I just started saying with the previous slide, if you do want to raise your hand, or you do have a comment, or you do have a question, please pose that so that Martinez can pick that up, maybe in the chat box if you want. And then afterwards, I'm going to ask Martinez to just quickly jump back to the questions, and we can quickly handle that, or if there were any comments on what we've got. Let's jump right in. Okay, so we're talking about bad habits, and there's a little bit of a list here of what we looked at, and it's the opposite of these things that we really see in the workplace. Now, remember, when we spoke about bad habits initially here, I do want to mention that we spoke of system-related work. So it's work around your current systems, or maybe the lack of systems that you might have in your workplace. So yes, quickly looking at this list, there's a couple of things: prioritizing what's important. You got to do that. Of course, we need to know what it is, what we need to do every day, and why we go to work, and have a little bit of almost like a diary, maybe, something that reminds us, notifies us, tells us that certain things need priority over others. Then staying uncluttered, also a proper system or a platform like with KEY360 that can really help you to prioritize things, but also at the same time see everything for what it is in its place and where it will actually have an impact on something else is very, very important. So a little bit of housekeeping there, and of course not running multiple programs at the same time. Of course, doing that, it really just becomes such a cluttered day overall. So yes, and then data backups, and not having data backups, or not knowing or not being sure whether everything is actually safe on the hard drive or in the cloud where I'm working, that also obviously forms bad habits, or actually forms part of bad habits. Then, of course, being careful with your data security, leaving things open halfway through or so, and then leaving your PC and it's unlocked, that kind of thing. Some more about that later as well. No distractions, of course, as well. If your platform, I want to say, can actually pull you in so that you can focus on a specific area, get the job done, update everything, and jump into the next one, and really work systematically, then of course The distractions itself will also become a little bit less. Mitigate procrastination, of course, yes. And then, of course, stop overspending. There's many, many more that we can add to this list. It's just a couple of things we quickly came up with when we started thinking about what about systems? How can systems help us, especially with KEY360, of course. So that said, how do we deal with this? And I just want to quickly jump back and just say those first two here, that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about prioritizing what's important, and I want to talk about staying uncluttered. Just a little bit of housekeeping and how KEY360 can really help us with that. So that's it. I just quickly want to pull in KEY360 where I opened it up this morning already for us. So you'll see here, I've got the system open and I already logged into what we call the Mia Oil Separator System. It's a project, a make-believe project that we actually set up in KEY360 for demo purposes. And in this case, actually, I want to actually share with you just two registers this morning. The first one is one that if you're a frequent viewer here, you might be familiar with that. This is the recordings register, and usually we actually update this register with new records of tasks or notes or things that we should remember about. So that said, what I did is I set up a little recording for myself. As you can see here, this is a line item on top. And of course here, you can see the description. You can see a lot of details about the line item itself and a lot more that I can still even add. You'll see on the side here is a field chooser, so I can actually expand that. And there's a whole bunch of headings that I can still add to my grid inside of this register here. Of course, everything PMBOK based, PMBOK being Project Management Body of Knowledge, an international standard for project management, and also, of course, being very effective regarding business management. This platform was really elaborated upon as well, so that it actually now includes additional things, not just PMBOK related things, but also logistics, asset management, material management. As you can see, a whole lot of stuff right at the top here of our list. Everything on top there used to be known as our focus areas, actually, or our knowledge areas for project management, but now it goes wider. We're talking about specific focus areas here in this case now, because we're talking about business management as well. So you'll see it starts off the integration. It should stop with closeout and handover, but there's some additional well, let's call it knowledge areas for now, focus areas that was added also to KEY360 itself, just to help us to actually do everything. So you can see that this is an all-encompassing system or a platform really, and you can choose what it is from all of these focus areas that you want to focus on. If your business or your project only requires a little bit of document management, maybe quality control or some construction-related work, maybe some queries or inspections or whatever the case is, then this is the platform for you. However, what I did is I went into communication, being a specific focus area for project management and business management, like I said, and then with the different modules underneath, you'll see specifically in the first module here, events and recordings. Now, recordings being, like I said, that register where you actually go and you upload things that you want to be reminded about by your platform itself. So it could be an action, and you can see here at the bottom, specifically this line item here, I've put up as an action. But of course, from the drop down here, everything being live, so we're actually now working directly on the server, being connected to that in the cloud. So you can see already all the options immediately available to myself. Of course, we can build upon these, but for this specific project here, it could actually be just a reminder itself. It could be an issue that I need to resolve. It could be something specific, a little diary entry or just a general note. Or like I said, in this case, a specific action. In this case, something I need to tell myself to go do, like here, add new activities to a Gantt register. For those of you who are not familiar with project management, more in the business side, of course, the Gantt activity register here would be the register that I want to update, and that would be the register towards my planning and scheduling for my project. So that this would be all the activities that happens throughout my project that are actually planned for or scheduled for. So if I need to go and update this register with all the new activities for the rest of my project, or something that I need to focus on, something that I need to get done, this is where I would go first. I would go here, set up almost like a little diary for myself. And just by clicking on the Add New button, opening up a gray form, and of course filling out this form, you can see in green here, indicating all the different sections on the form. So this actually guides me so that I can update my line item. So at the end of the day, you can see here, for instance, the recording type, again, the drop down there, and right next to that, the little what we call the hamburger menu. So of course, this is where we can actually go at the back end. We can actually add some more options for you to actually choose from. So you can actually have this little diary, I almost want to say, set up in the way that you want it to be. So you can have all the options you need. And then, of course, you can unclutter this as well. But before we get to that, setting up a little action for myself, like in this case, I would have, of course, the gray form behind that. So you probably noticed I just double clicked on the line item and then went into the gray form itself. And of course, certain sections on this gray form, by default, it is already expanded because the platform here already is sort of used to how I work inside this specific project. So it knows actually to expand some of these areas or sections on the form when I do open a form for this kind of a line item in this project. So of course, the part I want to focus on today is this here, first of all. So that would be the recording notification users. Now, this is a kind of a section within a section on a form, and you'll find this all over KEY360. If you do have line items, it's almost everywhere inside the line items where you can actually go and add some notification users. As you can see here, I just clicked on the Add New button. The button looks a little bit different from the norm. You can see it's got a yellow down arrow there. It means actually I'm going to download names into my list now from an existing list in KEY360. So that's why it's an Add New with a little down arrow there. And you can see already all of my users uploaded for this specific project. I'm just quickly scanning through all of them. And of course, being a grid itself, being a little register itself, it's got the same functionality inside here as well. So I can actually go and make use of my filter for my names here. And of course, I can now go and look for my own name. There you go. And just select myself, hit the save and close button, and immediately you can see that I have now been added to the status notification list, or the recording notification users list for this specific form here. What's very important, of course, here to know now is that my email address is also confirmed to me by the platform itself. So, of course, what's very important here to know about that is that I am required to check and make sure that the email address itself is actually the correct one, because that's where I'm going to receive my notifications. Now, in setting up KEY360, before this, as an administrator, or maybe as a super user to the system, I am able to go into the back end for administration and then, of course, set different users up with their different roles, and also, of course, allocate all their email addresses, and also decide that the platform actually allows me to decide how to notify these people. So when I do put up a new user to the system, whether they are active users or inactive users, I can choose between those two. But of course, the most important part about this is how will they be notified, whether it's an SMS or whether it's an email or whatever the case is. In my case, of course, it would be via email. Again, this is a little grid, so it's like inside a little register. So again, there's a field chooser in here, and of course, there's a couple of options for me to choose for some additional headings here that I might want to monitor as well. So very, very easy, very simplistic, but very, very powerful. So, of course, every time I update a new status throughout the life cycle my action, of course, there will be an email now sent out to that notification user. So even if it is myself, I can say this is now from open, it went maybe to submitted, or from issued, it went to now submitted. And I can add some comments to say that the actions were started, in fact, yesterday. Or whatever it is I want to tell myself. Of course, I do want that email to go out, even though it is to myself. That is perfectly fine. And next due date, can you see there, is already automatically added to it. And of course, the moment I hit the save and close button, I'm adding now to the existing status history of this line item. And as you can see now, it went now from, let me quickly just, there you go. So you can see it went now from issued now actually to submitted. So time date stamps are also available for each of these, and you can see them here on the far right hand side. So again, a little grid, also like a little register with the same functionality, with all of my filters and sorting and everything available inside here on the form itself. So of course I can go and save and close this. I can hit the refresh button for my register overall. You can see it pinged now to the cloud and then updated this line item of mine. You can see immediately that the status is now set up as submitted. So of course, the next thing I would do is to go to my inbox in Outlook, and of course I would find my email in there. I'm going to give it a minute or two just to make sure that it ends up in my Outlook in time, so that I can actually show you what it looks like. While we're waiting for that, just to make sure, I'm going to jump to the second part here of our list for making sure we've got some good habits instead of bad habits. The second one, of course, was being uncluttered, or working uncluttered, or more structured, and having a platform that actually helps you to do that too. So in here you can see I just jumped now to the document register for this specific project here that I've got, and already there's some filters applied. You can see I narrowed things down with some, and the filters themselves being highlighted in green. You can see all over the place different filters being utilized at this time for the different headings, much like what you would see with some other Office tools as well. Now, in this case here, in order for me to work a little bit more uncluttered, I would need some structure inside of my document register. This is just a basic document register layout, again, with all sorts of documents that were uploaded to my project here. You can see there aren't specific standards for internal document numbers, even as things were received and uploaded to our system here. In this case, it's just to show, again, the diversity of the system, and that it actually does cater for anything, even though it's not always exactly according to a standard that you might have. You might want to imply or apply a specific standard. So again, that is up to you. The system is really just open so that you can use it to the extent that you need it to. But what I really want to get to here is grouping, for instance. Now, you might be more familiar with the term pivoting. So in this case here, I'd like to group today or pivot today by a specific document type. In this case, you can see here is a column that says document type name. So I'm going to just click on this green bar at the top here just to open up the group by area. And inside this field, inside this dark area on the top here, I can actually drag headings by which I want to do my grouping. So of course I would go and now click on document type name, and I would actually drag it and drop it right inside that group by area. The moment I drop it in there, of course, immediately it does the pivoting for me. It does the grouping for me. So I can click on that green bar again just to close that up, just to make it look neat and tidy again. And then, of course, I can make use of these buttons on top here just to quickly expand all the different groups that I just created by different document types. Now, of course, I specifically left this one blank so that you can see what happens to this platform, to this system, when I do have blanks in the areas that I'm grouping for. So you can see the first category or the first grouping that I have would be just simply 5 blank items. So immediately it pulls my attention to where it should be. Again, working uncluttered, but also not distracting me, but sort of like disruptive technology again, showing me right on top where it is that I need to quickly focus and update all the document types that were actually supposed to be in there. And then, of course, the moment they are updated, they will jump to all of these groups in here. So you can see 12 items for agendas, one item, something that was for approval, an audit report here, a brochure here, a budget there, a little bit of everything, even the data sheets there, a lot of different document types that were uploaded here into the document register itself. And of course, I can do the same with specific titles if I wish to, if I know that there are similar titles to different documents or whatever the case is. I can do the same with KEY360 for all of my breakdown structures. Remember, when we're talking projects and even with businesses as well, you can actually build your own little breakdown structures inside the system before you actually start using it. Like, for instance, your work breakdown structure. Are there specific scope items that you would like to address? How about your cost breakdown structure, your procurement breakdown structure, asset breakdown structure? There's so many more that you can actually have inside the system itself. So really very interesting, because the moment you have that in there, it becomes available to you again via that little categorization button, and you can see here per project all the different categories. Again, like I said, work breakdown structure, cost breakdown structure, procurement breakdown structure, and even some additional metadata, a whole bunch of it. So all this is available for me to use for myself to categorize my documents, my inspections, my queries, schedule items, whatever the case is. If it's a line item in here, I can categorize it accordingly. And then, of course, I can start reporting with that. So before we get into reporting or anything, I just want to bring us back. Working uncluttered, you can see how KEY360 just helps us to really get things going in the right way. Being structured, looking at knowledge areas, looking at station phases, there's a lot. There's maybe phase and discipline and area. Let's make use of that, for instance, save and close. And there you go. So area, discipline, and phase now being available to me. When I expand everything again, you can see some of them are blank, some of them are filled out. So again, I can open up at the top and I can say, I would like to see another grouping by discipline. But now by dragging discipline to the top, you can see that I now have actually put that up as a second part of my grouping. In other words, I'm building little steps or little breakdown structures inside my register. And there it is. There you can see already the first blank heading there would, of course, be the document type. And the second part that was also blank, then, of course, would have been the different phases. And as you can see, or the disciplines, sorry. So as you can see, the disciplines were neglected in here. But in this case, when I expand here, oh, sorry, it's also actually there. Let's go here. There you go. So in this case, you can see specifically someone put up a document and they actually filled out all of the categorization as the document controller. And you can see now how quick and easy it is to find out what still needs attention, what still needs to be updated in the system. So if it says one item and it doesn't give me a heading, then of course it tells me that the discipline or the dot type or whatever it is supposed to be was not filled out. And this is a nice way for me to actually do my internal audit, a quick check on my registers, just do groupings by those areas and then go through those specific groups and just update them one by one or maybe even in bulk. But that helps us to work uncluttered, that helps us to work more focused, and it helps us to really get to where we need to be inside of our system very, very quickly. So we navigate quicker, and it just becomes easier to use KEY360, the platform itself as well. So yes, in the meantime, let's quickly jump into my Outlook. As you can see there you go, of course, from KEY360 itself. Just wanted to show you at the end of the day, there it is. I did receive my notification via email telling me add new activities to the Gantt register itself, tells me in what a project I'm working, gives me the codes, and also a little bit of a help here as well, of course, is the attachment to the top. If I double click on that, of course, I can say I can elect to open, and of course, immediately I'm logged into KEY360. It recognizes me as an active user, takes me directly to my form, and I can update this with the latest information saying that, of course, all the activities were now updated to the list. Everything is done. I can put the status now to completed or closed, and everything is done in sequence, in the right place, at the right time, just by prioritizing things, notifying me, telling the system to notify me in the right time and the right way. So a very, very effective tool, and a very basic but very easy tool to use inside of KEY360 itself. Just wanted to show you guys that today. Let's quickly jump back then, of course, to our slides. Of course, I want to quickly jump to questions and answers and ask Martinez at the background here. Martinez, are there any questions, comments, or anything, any remarks from the audience side today?
Hi, Gerard. Nothing as yet, so I'll just keep you posted.
Thank you very much. Okay, that said, I really want to encourage you as a listener or a viewer, please add your comments as well. Also at the end here, where we have uploaded this maybe now to our different channels, when you do come upon this, please still add some comments if you'd like. We'd like to go through those, and in our next sessions, of course, also address those. As you can see here at the end, I just quickly want to notify you, if you don't know about them yet, we do present document control for EPC and EPCM projects. And the same, of course, with planning and scheduling as well. These are either classroom courses or virtual classroom courses. It really depends on the time of the year as well. So please contact us at ssgconsulting.co.za, or you can make use, of course, of our KEY360 support tool there, the QR code, as you can see on the right-hand side. So please make use of any of this. Go look up KEY360 maybe online as well, and you'll learn more about us. You're welcome to send us a mail or just contact us via our contact page on site, of course. And let's discuss some of these courses that we present or that we can actually render for you, for your company as well. So yes, of course, next week we plan to, of course, still talk about bad habits, die hard, some other bad habits from that list, maybe looking a little bit up at data again, and how do we actually back up data? Do we do that or not? Or maybe some other parts of the list. Let's see what happens. I want to keep you on your toes for next week. It's going to be very interesting, but I surely hope that this one was helpful, just so that you can update KEY360, ask your administrator or your super user on your end to please set you up as a user, an active user, and also make sure that your notifications are set to either email or whatever the preferred method is, so that you know this is how you will be notified by the system itself. Again, thank you for your time and for listening in this morning. And just a reminder again, please like, subscribe, and leave us a comment, hit that notification button, and of course share this with everyone around you. We really would appreciate that. Thank you very much, and have a nice one.